Hello everyone, this is Shauna. I'm the second half of, or the other half of Decent Essentials, and I am going to show you, as well as myself, how I can make liquid soap out of this bar of soap. Now this bar is basically one of my pure soaps that I tried to come up with earlier, but I've already changed the recipe on it, but I don't want these to go to waste because it's a really good bar of soap also. So what I'm going to do is try and change this from a bar of soap into a liquid soap. So the first thing I have to do is basically grate it, but I don't feel like grating it, so I'm just going to use my nifty little vegetable peeler, which I only use for shredding soap. I have a separate peeler for food, but I'm going to go ahead and shred this up, and when I come back I'll show you what it looks like, and then I'm going to show you the process for me to change this bar of soap into liquid soap. So stay tuned. Alrighty, here we are with my shredded up soap. And like I said, you could use a grater with it, but since the shredded up soap comes out so nice and thin, it'll melt really quickly, I'm sure. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a shot. And fortunately I weighed the soap before I shredded it up. It's 3.75 ounces. So a good rule of thumb from what I've researched is to go anywhere between 5 to 10 times the amount, the weight of the soap for the water. Which basically, I mean, the water is usually 5 to 10 times the weight of the soap. So if this soap is 3.75 ounces, that means this water has to be 37 ounces or 375 ounces. There you go. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So give me a moment. I'll go ahead and weigh my water, and I'll go ahead and pour it into the pot, and let's see what happens. Stay tuned. Alright, I've weighed the water, and I'm getting ready to pour it in here. I've already turned the heat on, so it's going to sizzle. Like I said, it's going to sizzle. There we go. So now I just got to wait for the water to boil. And once the water is boiling, I can go ahead and add, I don't know if you can even see it, but I'll be able to add the soap. There you go. So I just got to give it a few minutes here. As soon as it's done that, I can go ahead and go for it. So stay tuned. Alrighty, now the water's coming to a boil. I'm going to go ahead and add the soap. There you go, and start stirring it up in there. Now the soap has to melt, so I've got to keep stirring it until it all melts. So I'm just going to stick with it until it does just that. Okay, now that the soap has come to a nice boil, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the heat. Stir it up a little bit, make sure all the goodness has been melted down. And it appears that it has. So now, and by the way, I meant to say that you need to use distilled water when you're making your liquid soap. I mean, you can probably use filtered water as well, but it's not a good idea to use tap water unless you have really, really good tap water that doesn't have any, you know, metals or any other chemicals or stuff like that in it. But basically, it's best to use distilled water. And I'm just checking now to make sure there are no soap pieces that haven't melted yet, and it looks okay. Alright, everything looks good. So now, what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of glycerin, about a tablespoonful. Since I made this soap, I can do that. Just add just a tablespoon. That's all. Now, if you're using, now people can make their own liquid soap by using a bar soap that they buy from the store, but more than likely you'd have to use 2 tablespoons of glycerin because they have more chemicals in theirs. But because mine is all natural and organic, I only need 1 tablespoon of glycerin. So here we go. Okay. Add that in there. Get all that goodness in there. Every last drop. Go, go, go. All right. I'm going to stir that in there. Alrighty, everything's looking great. Okay, now, once this cools off just a tiny bit, I'm going to transfer this into another bowl and then wait for it to cool. So stay tuned. I'll be right back. Okay, now it's time to transfer the soap into this bowl. So here we go. I got to be careful so it doesn't splash because it's very hot. Just trying to splash now. Easy does it. There we go. All right. So now, all you have to do now is just wait. The soap has to cool off completely, and once it cools off, it'll solidify and become a gel-like texture. Maybe it'll thicken. As it cools off, it'll thicken. So now all we have to do is wait. So it's going to be a few hours, so I'll come back. Stay tuned. Well, it looks as if it's done. I've got this gelatinous something or other going on here. I'm sure you can't quite tell, but it's pretty gelatinous. I can just spin it around just like that. But I kept this mixture in overnight in the fridge. So now what I'm going to do is add my fragrance to it and stir it up a little bit more to get it a little bit more liquid. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it in my my little bottles over here. These are sample bottles. I'm not selling this or anything, at least not yet. Not until I perfect it. But I'm definitely going to give this a try and see how it is. So let me just add my fragrance here. It's an organic essential oil. Hopefully it'll make it smell really nice. Get in there. Alright. We're going to get this all together, mix this in real well. And, oh, I need to grab a funnel. Give me 1 second, stay right there, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, I'm back. And while I was off camera, I sprayed my bottles also with alcohol. You know, keep everything sanitized and lovely. So, I am mixing this up now. I'm gonna get it all nice and incorporated, fragrance and liquid soap, and see how it all comes out. Interesting. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this to the side. Get my funnel and fill this up. I've got to take my time and be careful with it though. Here we go. Oops. Already it's going a little over. Now what I'll do, wow, that's a little too much. Let me take some of that out. There we go. There, don't want it to spill out completely. Alright. Let me put this top on here. As soon as I can get it twisted on properly. There we go. All right. And there you have it. Ta-da! Finally got my own liquid soap. Yay! We're going to be, once I perfect the recipe and all, we're going to be advertising these and selling these also on the DSE website. Just go to www.decente.com. That's DSCENTE.com. This will be one of the ones on the Decent Essentials once I perfect the recipe and once I get it all right. So, just wanted to let you know. Woohoo! We've got liquid soap!